Welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. After hearing your feedback, we came to the conclusion that we add another climbing list for the OP picks format. That way you're given the champions that perform exceptionally well in the lower to mid elo compared to the high elo champions. But don't forget, the high elo champions are still absolutely busted. And now, let's get into the video. First on our list comes Ahri. She's the backbone of anyone who wants to start getting familiar with ranked and learn about the game. What makes her so powerful though? It's her ability to push the lane in an easy fashion while featuring super high mobility on top. You're going to be able to shove waves, side lane, engage and trap for enemies. Basically most of the traits you want from any good mid lane champion. For your starting item, you always want to rush Luden's Echo. It's the best item and the most consistent item that provides her with everything she needs: mana, damage and ability haste. Another thing you need to keep in mind while playing Ahri is the amount of pressure you generate. Think about dashing close to an enemy champion. He's then forced to react almost immediately. If he doesn't do it, it's very likely that he's going to end up charmed, and we all know what happens after. Being stuck in the fountain and having to wait some time until your screen becomes colorful again. And now let's move on to our question of the day. Would you like to see more esports oriented content? And if so, why? Let me know in the comments below. Next up comes Garen as one of the most durable, easy and strong champions available. Not only is he straight up able to kill you on level 5 with Ignite and Ultimate, he's also able to soak crazy amounts of damage at the same time. During the laning phase, he's super easy to pilot, and in the worst case scenario, you can just use your third ability and spin around for fun until the enemy dies. Taking a bad trade is also not the end of the world. And to be honest, if you know how to use your second ability, it's very hard to be on the losing end of a trade. However, just in case that happens, you have a nice passive that allows you to sustain through those bad times. And whatever happens though, you'll always want to build Black Cleaver first, as this item grants you the most offensive and defensive capabilities combined into one item. Especially thanks to the changes to Garen in the past, any kind of bonus AD really increases his damage by a lot. But here's the funny thing about Garen as a champion. If you're absolutely truthful, it doesn't really matter what kind of items you build after your cleaver and maybe your Sterix gauge. You'll always be able to instantly kill the enemy AD carry. While doing so, your spin is going to apply Black Cleaver stacks to all enemies around you, making it easier for your team to clean up after you. Now we are going to show you the "you didn't end the game fast enough, oh well, I guess you're going to lose" type of champion, Jinx. This lovely maniac loves killing everyone on the enemy team to get even more excited. Not only that, here's also a little secret most Jinx players don't know about. Rather than immediately completing your Infinity Edge, which you won't be able to unless you get kills before the first objective, what about building a BF Sword into Runan's Hurricane? And here's the build sequence. You go BF Sword, Recurve Bow and the Brawler's Glove. You'll have the best of all worlds combined at the same time. But why exactly do you want to get Runan's Hurricane so early? First off, you want the benefits of the raw AD from the BF Sword. It's the most AD you can get for the price tag. Secondly, your first ability's rockets deal AoE splash damage, which means that each rocket deals splash damage around the target hit. Now imagine you're fighting a full melee team now allowed to permanently auto attack. They'll explode pretty fast, and the more you kill, the easier it gets. Once you reach super late game, Jinx turns into an absolute abomination of a champion that kills you from an entire screen away with the power of her range and red buff. So unless you literally run it down into your own death, you're going to be more than just fine. Last but not least, we have the king of the jungle in terms of relaxation. This fellow never stops scaling and will always provide you with the highest quality bonks available. He might start out a bit slow, but that's not a problem at all, as you're able to safely farm it up in any scenario. Don't forget, the likelihood of you being punished in the lower elo to mid elo is far lower than in high elo, which in return allows you to safely scale for free and then carry the game later. Basically the same applies to Jinx. The next nice thing about this champion is the way he's allowed to itemize. You can start the game with either Blade of the Rune King or a Trinity Force. After that, he can complete the one he didn't rush and then complete his build with tank or bruiser items. Because as long as Jax doesn't die, he'll make sure that the enemy is going to die, because no one stands a chance in an extended 1v1 with him. Here's also a little game plan you want to follow with Jax to avoid issues down the line. Your champion loves to take down towers, and thanks to Trinity Force, it's going to be super easy. So for your game plan, you mostly want to focus on collecting gold and splitting throughout the game. That's going to be way easier than staying with the team, at least most of the time. And that's it. If you like the series, then watch the upcoming part after you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See ya.